Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Mathey-Tissot Zoltan H117ABU. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this G-Shock DW5600E on the Vario strap, and Greg was wearing my Elvon 117 Watch Gang wheel spin booby price. Grogo said that Grief Karga hired Mando to hunt down the last surviving bottle of a vintage wine from Alderaan. When Mando finally gave Grief Karga the bottle, he took a big swig only to discover it was full of water. "What is this stuff?" he demanded. Mando said, "The stuff that streams are made of." All right, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this Mathey-Tissot box. And here is the watch. We won't go over the content of the box because I know you saw my unboxing video. But here it is, the Mathey-Tissot Zoltan. And nowhere on the watch does it mention the word Zoltan. And nowhere in the packaging either. So, but supposedly it's called the Zoltan. But that is a nice looking watch. I've really enjoyed this watch. And yes, I know it's a knockoff of a PRX, but it was $100. And it's very well made. This is the first Mathey-Tissot on my channel. Mathey-Tissot has been around since 1886. It was an established brand, but ever since the Quartz crisis, they no longer make in-house movements and are focused on Swiss-made homage watches and have earned the reputation of the brand that is not Tissot. This Zoltan is obviously their answer to the PRX, with the main difference being the small bit of fluting on the bezel. You also get a waffle dial, which is only available on the Powermatic version of the PRX. I bought this watch on Joma Shop for $100, which I think is a pretty good price considering what you're getting. However, while researching this watch, I found it for a similar price on many different gray market dealers. I couldn't find it at all on the official Mathey-Tissot site, so maybe it is discontinued. But there is still a ton for sale. If you don't like the blue, here are the other colorways Joma Shop is carrying. I really like the blue two-tone. I'm surprised there is no black dial. If you look on Amazon, there's also a Tiffany blue. The watch is 39 millimeters at the bezel, but 41 millimeters if you measure at the case. It's 44.8 millimeters lug to lug if you go to the case, but if you count these non-articulating end links, it's 55.2 millimeters. It's only 11.1 millimeters thick, so it's fairly thin. The lug width does not apply, but it's 27.7 millimeters where the bracelet meets the case. And it tapers down to 22 millimeters at the clasp. It weighs 143 grams on the supply bracelet with 3 links removed. So it is fairly heavy, but then again, it has a very wide bracelet. The bezel is like smooth, and then it has these markings here. So I guess, I don't know, would you call this semi-fluted? But a regular PRX does not have these markings on the bezel. So I guess maybe they wanted to be distinct from that. But unfortunately though, because of this fluting here, I can tell that the 12 o'clock is a little bit out of a line. The dial is just a hair misaligned. And if it wasn't for these flutes here, I probably never would know. And then we have the dial itself. The dial is a waffle dial. And once again, on a real PRX, you only get the waffle dial if you get the Powermatic version. You don't get a waffle dial with the Quartz. It is a nice looking dial though. I think they did a good job with it. Then we have the Mathey-Tissot name in 1886 printed on top. And then we have Swiss made on the very bottom. And then we have the indices, we have batons everywhere, and we have a double baton at the 12, and we have a half baton at the 3 because of the date. And then we have very small Lume fence post hands, minute and an hour. Then we have an unloomed second hand with a counterbalance that has the Mathey-Tissot logo on it. Then we have a date at the 3 with no cyclops. Then we have a sign push-pull crown. The crown action's fine. This is not a cheap AliExpress watch. This is a Swiss-made watch with a Ronda movement, so no worry about minute hand jump. So that's one nice thing. And then we have the crystal. I really like the crystal. It's sapphire, and they must have AR coating because it does a really good job of not reflecting, and you can see through it very well. So it's a good quality sapphire crystal, you can just tell. And then we have the case. The case is brushed on, no, the case is fully polished, except for this 1886 on the side. It's even polished on the bottom. So I think they did a good job with the case, though. It's fairly thin. And then we have the case back that says all stainless steel case, 'cause of course it is. And then it says Swiss made. Then it says sapphire crystal. And it says water resistant 5 ATM. So you get 50 meters. Then it also says Mathey-Tissot Swiss 1886. Then it gives the H117, which is the reference number. And once again, no mention of the word Zoltan. So underneath the case back is the Ronda 515 Swiss-made movement. This is a Quartz movement, and this is probably about as cheap as a Swiss-made movement as you're going to get as far as Quartz goes. Ronda seems to be the go-to Quartz movement for any watch that wants to have Swiss-made on it but doesn't want to cost a lot of money. And there's nothing wrong with the movement. It seems to be doing just fine. The second hand is barely missing the marks, but not enough to set off your Quartz movement OCD, because it hits them. It hits them enough where the few misses you don't worry about. But here's a picture of the movement just to show you that it is a Ronda. There was no mention of 515 in the specs, and so I had to look it up, and sure enough, it's a 515 because it looks just like it. I've had several 515 24Hs, which is the GMT version of that movement, and they're always very accurate. Whenever I have to go set the watch because of daylight savings and stuff like that, they're usually not that far off. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet is brushed, except for these little center things are polished. And unfortunately, though, it doesn't articulate at the case. And so it makes a big watch wear even bigger. So it would have been nice if these articulate. I've never had a real PRX or never even worn one, so I don't know if a real PRX would articulate or not. But I've had a lot of AliExpress versions, and some do and some don't. But the ones that do always seem to wear nicer. Then we have push pins, not screw pins. I know a lot of people would poo-poo not having screw pins on a Swiss-made watch, but this bracelet is fairly thin, and so your screws would be really small. And so I kind of prefer push pins anyway. They're just easier, and they never come out on me, and you never have to worry about Loctite on them. And so they came out nice and easy and went back in nice and easy. So I like that. Then we have the clasp. And it's just your basic butterfly clasp, but the end links are signed. So that's nice there. And there are no half links, but these links are fairly short, so you should have no issue sizing this. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks nice, it wears nice. Once again, though, if those end links would articulate, it would probably fit just a little bit better. And I removed 3 links to fit on my wrist, so you should be able to wear this 8 1/4. Otherwise, you'll need more links. And normally I say you can always ask for more links, and you probably could if you ordered this from Mathey-Tissot directly, but if you order it from Joma Shop, I don't know if you'll be able to add extra links or not. So, I mean, that's just the reality of gray market dealers. They just sell what they get. The bracelet, though, is really wide. It's 22 millimeters. So I kind of wish it tapered more because it just seems really bulky. I tried and tried and tried to get these PRX compatible straps I just bought on AliExpress on the watch, and I just couldn't make it work. For some reason, even though the width was proper, the holes just did not line up precisely, and I just could never get these spring bars to click. But I was able to put it on this canvas leather one because it's a lot more flexible, and so the holes didn't have to line up precisely. So once again, the width is okay for a PRX compatible strap, but if the holes are fitted, I don't know if you can make it work or not. I know for a fact that you'll never make a metal one work if I can't make these rubber one works. But that does look good on that strap. Here we are in the Lume room. Unfortunately, the Lume on this watch is not very good, and I've seen Pagani design watches with better Lume. As we speed up the time, everything starts to fade fairly fast. At least the hands do outlast the indices, if just barely. This Lume is a huge disappointment for something bragging about Swiss made. What I like about this watch? Well, I really like the finish and the build. I really like the sapphire crystal. It has very good AR coating. You don't see a lot of reflection. And I really like this waffle dial. I think they did a good job with it. What are my gripes and groans? The end links do not articulate. The Lume is just horrible. And I wish the bracelet would taper down more than 22 millimeters. 22 millimeters just seems kind of wide. Do I recommend this watch? Sure. For $100, you're getting a well-built Swiss-made watch that looks great, wears great, and will scratch that PRX itch without spending over $300. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Mathey-Tissot H117 Zoltan, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel, and if you like this watch, I do not have a Joma Shop affiliate link. I should sign up for their program, but I don't know. I just don't do that many Joma Shop watches to justify that. But I will leave a link to the Joma Shop where I bought it from for your convenience. Bye.